What is up? And welcome to another edition of the All Basketball Podcast. And once again, I'm your host, Maurice Dixon, coming to you on December the 11th, um, early in the AM, specifically just after midnight. But watched a lot of basketball recently, and I wanted to get some thoughts out there about the college and professional level, and even a little on the women's game. But this is another edition of just my thoughts, just what I'm feeling, just what's been on the mind, what I want to talk about. So I'm going to cover a couple of topics here. Won't be here before you too long. Just remember, you can find the podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, YouTube. Just a simple search of All Basketball Podcasts, and on those platforms is where you can find older episodes, anything you want to tune into from the past. But so far, as far as the NBA, we're about close to the 30 game mark. So already just like that, and things are shaking out kind of as expected. Boston number one in the East, the New Orleans Pelicans number one in the West, which is a big surprise. Don't think they're championship ready or anything, but big ups to them for being number one out west. And just with that impressive win over Phoenix last night, and they also played them later on today, or technically tomorrow, however you want to look at it, on the 11th, back in New Orleans, and they beat Phoenix, gave Phoenix their third straight loss. I think now New Orleans has won six straight, on quite a roll. And yeah, and Brandon Ingram wasn't playing because I remember when I watched the scuffle, he was in street clothes because the whole scuffle I'm referring to was when game was over. Zion got a breakout, did that windmill. We got so used to him 360 windmill dunk. He kind of made so famous when he was just coming out of high school or just got the Duke when he was very healthy. That one he does is kind of his signature dunk, I would say. So he did that when game was out of reach. Some of the Suns players got upset. Definitely could see Cameron Payne saying something. So, and then those guys had a pretty good competitive playoff series last year. So it's some attitudes and probably a lot of things being said, a lot of head butting, trying to figure out a better way to phrase it, but just a lot of animosity coming from each side. I'll put it like that. So they didn't like that. So it was a bunch of pushing and shoving, hold me back moments, but nothing really happened. So but New Orleans played them tough last year. So at Phoenix, so yeah, big up to the Pelicans. Much props to them for getting a getting that win. We'll see if they can make it seven straight to keep Phoenix going the wrong way in the standings. Phoenix was number one, and they responded big with all the responded well so far this season with the controversy with their owner Sarver, and then as Monty Williams said, he hadn't spoken to DeAndre Ayton and the whole situation with Ayton's contract. And I mean, they pretty much came out really focused after getting embarrassed last year in the West semifinals in Game 7 against Dallas. I mean, just getting slaughtered, and uh, I was just really wondering how much disappointment, how much in them, how much motivation would they have after just losing the finals the way they did against the Bucks, and then you got the best record last year, then you don't even get to the conference finals or back to the finals. Then just the way you get embarrassed in Game 7 against Dallas, Luka just puts on the show, almost outscores you by himself in the first half. Maybe he did, but uh, and just now this so a little slippage. Looking at their record, they beaten the competition we expect them to beat. They beat some and they beat some pretty good teams like or teams we think will end up being good. But even though the Warriors don't have a great record right now, but they beat the Warriors, they beat the Pelicans early this season. But just they coming off of that loss to New Orleans, and then just a down 45 to Boston. I mean, when you were the best in the West and they were the best in the East, and they still Boston still is, the Celtics still are. I mean, to be down 45 and then you get handled in Dallas. So it's just kind of puzzling, and I'm just kind of wondering where this team is headed. I see them going back to the playoffs, but I mean, Chris Paul is old. He just came back from injury, maybe about definitely getting closer and closer to being done. But it's I mean, when you get beat like that, it's just something doesn't sit right with me. And I think other people look from the outside in as well. Even some people in the mix, just like, man, we're getting embarrassed. Like we don't have the players, we don't have the talent to be able to compete. Where you just getting, I mean, down 45 points in the third quarter against Boston. But we'll see how it shakes out for Phoenix. But they're in a good place, try to get it back on track. But just a little concern there. Also out west, other concern I have is with the Warriors. I mean, just pretty much beat Boston. Curry and Thompson put up 34 and 32 points. Curry with 32, Thompson with 34. Good game for him. And they went on to improve to 12-2 at home, and pretty much virtually unbeatable at home. But on the road, it's wild. They're 2-11. I mean, definitely got to be concerned. And right now, currently ninth in the West, so they'd be if the playoffs start today, they'd be in a play-in position. And I don't know what that road record is all about. Could be some championship hangover. Seems like they passed the Draymond punch against Jordan Poole. Poole played well tonight as well too, but pretty much assume he's been inconsistent or just not all the way there yet. And maybe it's the fact that Steve Kerr sat his whole starting lineup, sat the older guys, played the younger guys, Moody, Kuminga, Poole, DiVincenzo getting some burn. Jermichael Green's he's not young, but and then you would think Wiseman, but uh he's down in the G League. Last I heard, and I'm pretty sure at the moment. I mean, he didn't play tonight for sure. So they're I don't know. It's a mixture of things, but just kind of wild to see them, and a little concerning to see them still be this bad on the road. I mean, handling your business at home, but championship teams, you want to be. I think the word is you want to be definitely around 500 on the road, and you want to be almost unbeatable, close to it, definitely very good at home. But for some reason, they haven't been able to do that. And with 13 games, you play 41 on the road, so still a good amount on both sides of it. I mean, it's with a total of 82 games, but not a good look. I'm not real high on this. High on some people on some of those young guys they bring along. Moody, Kuminga. Kuminga's really athletic. Moody seems to shoot it pretty well. Wiseman, he's a little awkward to me. But he does have height, which you can't teach. But I don't know if Golden State's system just isn't built for those guys to support Curry and Thompson. Poole seems to thrive in it, but he just seems to be a little inconsistent. But and I mean, They got the 4 championships in 8 years. Um, could very well get another one this year, but I don't think it's going to be a smooth of a transition to them to just keep winning at a high level and just pass this thing on to the younger guys. I mean, it rarely happens like that. You can look back at the history of the league. I mean, once you have your run, you kind of fall off for a while, then maybe you pick it back up because you pick the right guy, you get the right free agents. And I know they're trying to follow that Spurs model, but what was the gap in the Spurs? They won in 07, didn't win another one until 13, came very close, and I'm sorry, 14 came very close in 13. So they and Duncan was there for the whole time. Popovich, I mean Ginobili, Parker, Duncan Robinson, Ginobili, Parker. Then they brought in Kawhi a little later and tried to keep things going, but then he decided to leave. He wanted out, and so yeah, the that model could work, but we don't know. I mean, this guy's still young, but I just don't see nobody popping, if I would use that term, or blowing up to be the next franchise player. I think they're gonna have to get maybe somebody else in there, or because I mean they are getting old. I mean, Klay Thompson and what he had to deal with and overcome, just trying to get back to being pretty consistent or the one of the best two guards in the league. But he's having his moments. I mean, Draymond's pretty much almost done. I mean, and so we'll see. I'm just saying right now. To clarify, I'm not I'm not as high on those guys who they're kind of ready to elevate. Not haven't been real impressed to think they're going to be anything special, but just my opinion. They could prove me wrong if they do. Great for them. Uh, Also, we got I guess the thing with hit here in the area. Trae Young and the Hawks had a little issue going on, pretty much with where Trae Young was something with his shoulder, and just to kind of sum it up, he was trying to do get treatment, and him and Nate McMillan, the coach, had an disagreement about when he was going to get that treatment, or if he's going to be at walkthroughs, and then Nate McMillan was reported to have given him an ultimatum to say either you're going to be here too, and if you're not going to be here, then you're going to come off the bench. You just don't come. So Trae Young didn't come. Word got out, didn't look good. Even to the game to support his teammates. And when he was asked about it, the reporter came off really aggressive, and Trae Young called him on that. But the guy didn't want to get the question, and he kind of eased his tone after that. And he kind of caught Trae Young in a funny situation where it's like, well, John Collins, Trae Young was saying it was private, and then some other things. But then the reporter said, well, John Collins was out here supporting the team. Why weren't you as the leader? So Trae Young was just saying it was a private thing, and you're on the outside. Didn't really sound really very good, but they and so I mean he came back, but they're on a little losing streak right now. Currently 7 at 500, 13-13. So got some injuries. Hunter out again. Collins is out. John Collins, DeAndre Hunter. I guess he won't be out that long. I think I saw a hamstring injury or something, so maybe something not too serious. But dude's just one of them, just always hurt. I mean, it's unfortunate, but and so my whole thing, I'm just wondering with then it kind of dawned on me to listen to some other information, some other podcasts that Trae Young had an issue with Lloyd Pierce. They got Lloyd Pierce out of there because Trae Young's a franchise player. So Um, just gonna have to see where this goes. And then Trae Young isn't scoring about the same amount of points. Isn't shooting the three as well. Below 30%. I mean, I know it come up to about his career average of near 40%, but he wants to get that shot better. People think he should come off the ball more, move more without the ball, but still kind of standing out once he doesn't have the ball. Kind of waiting to spot up a little bit, but just kind of already towards half court. Like once we miss, I know I'll be back on defense. But with they wanted to hand more off to DeJounte Murray, who's got a little ankle issue now as well. So he'll be out. But with Trae Young not shooting as well, the team playing okay, and seeing how things go forward with David McMillan, we'll see how this plays out. I mean, is it because it could go a couple of ways. It can go Trae Young is uncoachable to an extent, or the other coach that got fired. I mean, we got to start looking in the mirror at some point and maybe trying to change what he's doing or maybe his attitude because you haven't won anything, but you've been given a lot of power and ego is huge. People have doubted you your whole career, so you kind of use that as fuel, but then your ego kind of gets out of control because you've excelled expectations or expectations other people have put on you, and so and now are you becoming a problem player? Or are you becoming hard to coach? Is it? I mean, are you having issues with authority or your head coach, and then you're not playing as well, the team's not playing as well, and but interesting stuff there as far as that. See how it plays out with the Hawks and Trae Young, Nick McMillan, and see if oh, and another thing, I guess it was the fact that somebody got this information to Sam Amick and he put it out there confidently. He works for the Athletic, and it's almost a sense that what I also heard was that some people in the organization of maybe some players wanted to get out because dude's becoming an issue. I mean, he's our superstar, but he's not leading well, or he's not um, humbling himself to authority in a way to put it as far as the coach and what Nate McMillan is trying to do. So we'll see how they respond. Yeah, people have issues, and you're around these guys a lot. Everybody has issues with people who you're around a good bit. Sometimes things just happen. So it's nothing new, but we'll see how it transpires. Uh, Also on the NBA front, one thing I noticed that traveling calls have been up. There was one point out on Twitter tonight by B-ball breakdown where Draymond set a screen and Curry caught it, and you can you can see those feet shuffling. But one game, I mean, I can't remember which one, but they called what was the game against Dallas, Golden State in Dallas, sometime last week. Called a bunch of travels on everybody. So kind of good to see that let's get this. It needs to be checked. I mean, especially when you have the offense has so many advantages over the defense. Can't hand check. Guys are constantly flopping, flailing, kicking out their legs, just trying to get anything to get to the free throw line to get a extra point on a shot they attempt with these foul hunting tactics that I hate so much because it's like you're playing to get fouled and just not playing to play basketball and just try to score. You're playing to get fouled. You're playing for a call. I just don't like watching it. Nobody wants to watch a free throw shooting contest, and but maybe that'll balance some of the stuff out to give the defense a little more help because they're so limited in what they can do and with minimal contact and everything like that. So And at least we, with the free throw being awarded on a take foul thing to stop transition, I haven't seen it in the games I've watched. I haven't seen it happen because obviously you get punished for it's an automatic free throw, and nobody wants to give up free points, especially the good free throw shooters. So um, that seemed to have cut that. I don't have any stats to back it up, but that seemed to cut that out immediately, which is good. We don't need to get transition. We don't need fouls to be taken to eliminate big dunks or just exciting plays or anything in transition really quickly. So good as far as that. Also as far as the standings, the Bucks are where they should be, right there behind Boston quietly. Just got back Middleton, beat the Mavs in a close one. Luke still just has inconsistent help. I mean, he's doing so much, and I mean, one night's one player, one night's another player, but it's just not enough to beat majority of the good teams or teams with more than one person who can take over. Uh, Everybody thought the Pacers were dead. They're currently in sixth. I like the guy Benedict Mathurin, athletic, can shoot it, comes off the bench. But they're hanging in the standings right now. Out west. Much props to the Kings. Mike Brown seems to be doing something there with De'Aaron Fox, Barnes, Sabonis. They're in the mix in the West for a change. So good for them. And everybody else seems to be that we expected. Seems to be panning out. Utah slipped a lot. They started out hot, but they're regressing back to who they are. They don't have that type of talent. I mean, everybody was saying they definitely once they traded Gobert and Mitchell, it was definitely all about trying to get Victor Wembanyama. But they came out hot. But now they're only a game over 500, so it'll be interesting to see if they continue to drop because San Antonio, Houston, Detroit, Orlando, and Charlotte look to have those bottom spots pretty much on lock. I don't see them changing much of what they're doing in the standing. I doubt, seriously doubt there's going to be some hot streak that takes place. Brooklyn after all the stuff with Kyrie and everybody, the microscope on Ben Simmons, crazy thing there. Fourth in the East right now. Had so many guys out: Simmons, Kyrie, KD. I mean, hardly any of the key players played tonight. They happened to get one over the Pacers due to Cam Thomas's big effort. Dude can really score the ball, so he got a chance to play and lit it up enough. And they 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 stole one against Indiana. So Brooklyn's been crept up in the fourth spot. I guess the question marks and all the distractions are going away. Or the question, the not the question, but the distractions are going away. So, but um, they can be a dangerous team, but I still don't see them beating. Just with all that's been going on, I doubt if they're able to beat Boston or Milwaukee. They may even struggle with Cleveland. Much credit to Donovan Mitchell joining the Cavs and got them rolling. Him and Garland in the back in the backcourt. Allen protecting the rim, dunking almost every time he gets a chance to. And so they're Cleveland is really about where I expect them to be with the addition of Mitchell. And then just I got to comment on that. As far as the Lakers, we'll see. They beat some bad teams, won 8 of 10 at a certain point. LeBron was out, but AD was on a scoring tear, 44 points one night, 55 points another night, rebounding, playing really well. Then he got sick, and then they all of a sudden they sit a few guys and they lose three straight. Almost came back in a crazy way against Philly Friday night because Philly just can't figure out how to draw up something to get a clean inbounds and get fouled. to preserve the lead, and the Lakers had pretty much a chance to win it, but Austin Reeves missed the last of that those three free throws he got. Then AD missed one as well. Then in overtime, they just didn't have anything left. Uh, I mean, LeBron's looking older. Definitely not able to put in much effort to really to get back once there's a turnover or transition going the other way. It just just don't have it in the don't have that much in the gas tank anymore. And then much credit to Westbrook coming off the bench. I guess doing what Darvin Ham and that staff is asking of him. Seems to be playing a little better. It's helping out the team. But in overtime, he kind of reverted back to taking some shots he probably shouldn't have, and they did miss some layups as well. So and Philly held on to that crazy contest of it was just a bad representation of professional basketball. Something you maybe expect to see at the lower level of college, but NBA players, and I know they don't see many full court presses much, but it seemed like something should be installed at some point. Okay, let's just install this just in case we at some point they're gonna have to press it. So let's have a play installed, a set, instead of just me putting one player A putting his body in between, trying to keep player B on his hip or behind him and telling the guy to bounce to pass him the ball or throw it over the top, selling him the other way. This was just bad basketball all over the place, but it's just about to be one of the most epic meltdowns I ever seen. But we'll see if either one of those teams can really get hot. Not big on Harden anymore. I think he's on his last legs. He doesn't look very aggressive at times, and just slowing down. I mean, what 2009 in the league, about 13 years now. All those games, trip to the playoffs. I think it's just definitely his best days are behind him, but just beginning to slow down. And the Lakers, if they can beat some of the good teams, see if they can go on a hot run, get along that play somewhere in that play-in line, but it's gonna be out tough for them out west. Going to be tough for them out west, and they're just not that good. Still don't have a good amount of shooting. Guys got hot for a stretch, but don't have enough shooting to keep up. But they're constantly in trade talks. People want seem to want to see them make trades. So we'll see how it shakes out for them. See if they have another steal some games, get another hot run going to try to get in a better position, get in contention for at least a playoff spot because there's a lot of season left. But game to game with Anthony Davis, I mean, it's you just almost is he gonna will he end up getting hurt? I mean, when's his next injury coming? Not even if, when. I mean, as far as injuries, like Zion looking good. The stats are popping off the sheet, helping that team win, but it's almost insane. He's in the same boat. When is the injury coming? But he is much younger. Maybe that stretch is done for him. Another guy, Kawhi Leonard, I mean, saw he was back tonight because after whatever was going on at the beginning of the season, then he twisted the ankle, but came back. So, um, I mean, I'd be surprised if he even plays 50 games at this point. I mean, because he's not going to play back to backs. And I mean, what's his, let me see what his count is right now as far as games played. This is getting to the point where I'm feeling like Birdman. I mean, is he finished? Is he done? I mean, I mean, like the guy's game. Deadly the mid range, strong on the post. Great defense. Doesn't say much, but just deadly. And when he gets in the zone, I mean, he's hard to stop. But I mean, yeah, I mean, 7 games. When I say we're almost at 30 game mark, so they're right around 500 currently. 28 games. They're 15-13. If Basketball Reference is currently updated, he's played 7 games. So updated after tonight. So yeah, man, I'd be surprised. It's like, wow, will he even get in half of the season? This is, I mean, just get closer and closer. It's one of my phrases. It's been a good run. And he's looking to be heading that way. I want to go down to the college game real quick. My boys, Carolina, they started out number one, non-ranked, lost 4 straight, bounced back in the big way against Georgia Tech, moved the ball today, um, gave up good shots to get great shots. So that was definitely good to see because um, they were struggling. Hopefully, this guy Jalen Washington starts playing, gives us some more size. Baycott stays healthy, and so much pressure isn't put on Caleb Love and RJ Davis because in a few of those games, not Indiana, but I know I didn't see the game against Virginia Tech, but lot word was out there, Love and Davis taking a lot of shots, but when you don't have Baycott, if Nancy's in foul trouble, Puff Johnson and Leaky Black are pretty much self-checked to an extent. So who are you expecting to shoot? Maybe they're working in Self Trimble, the freshman point guard, a little more now. So that'll give us some better looks because Nance can shoot it, and then hopefully they were saying got off the bench Nickel, the freshman out of Virginia, 6'7", Tyler Nickel. He can shoot as well. So and we start getting these guys some more playing time. Hopefully they earn the coaching staff, Coach Davis' trust, then we can get more guys in the rotation and so much won't be on Love and Davis. They won't just be their show, just high screen and roll and Love taking bad shots a lot of time, even Davis too, but we get ball movement, we play from the inside out, play from Baycott's advantage. Just it would just be great to see because we can keep bouncing back, get back into the top 25 and get this thing rolling back right and meet some of these expectations because last year was a magical year, but with everybody coming back, we want to follow it up with another nice run. As far as Duke, can't even tell that Shire seems to be doing good as the coach. Got a lot of new players, a lot of guys I'm not familiar with. I know Roach is back. Got a guy, Filipowski. They seem to be high on, so I've seen a little bit of them play. Seems like a pretty decent squad, so we'll see what transpires as far as that program. And yeah, so we have a new number one because Houston lost to Alabama. Alabama beat us as well, so Alabama seems to be a pretty solid team. I mean, it took them 4 overtimes to beat. Carolina should have had that game, but things just didn't work out, and Baycott wasn't himself. I think Nance was in foul trouble that game. Well, it just was a stretch where they played those games in Portland. Like I think got beat by I want to say Iowa, but didn't start off well, and it just from watching them, it just seemed like they weren't, even though they were 5-0 and number one, they weren't playing very well. And Duke got hot in that first game, and then play Alabama, and they just played a good game, and it became a war of attrition. But got some winnable games coming up, so they should be going back in the right direction. And the last thing I want to close out with is the Brittney Griner thing. Obviously don't talk much WNBA on here, but glad to see definitely she was able to come back home. On everybody had been putting the word out there and everything. Great for her. Now I do think the trade wasn't a good one for this guy, this arms dealer, and obviously it doesn't look good that the Marine Paul Whelan is still locked up in Russia, accused of being a spy. But I'm pretty sure she learned from her lesson. Um, you can't everything that's not legal here. Everything that's legal here is not legal in other places. With the hash thing, it may have been minor, but I definitely think Putin they found something they can work with to get this arms dealer back, Victor Bout, and they had so much leverage that the U.S. and all the pressure everybody was putting on about bringing Brittney Griner home from celebrities, and because of who she is, the U.S. just pretty much had to give in. But good for her, she's able to come home and be back with her friends and family. I know everybody doesn't agree with it. I don't really have a stance on either side. I just sum it up like this: people, make sure you know who you are, where you are, and the temperature of the room. And when I say temperature of the room, realize you're in a foreign country, what's going on. I mean, be aware that she should have been aware that Russia was in a war with Ukraine, and Russia does not have, they don't, they're not for the US, so they're not an ally. So just take with a grain of salt, but just know who you are, where you are, the temperature of the room, because everything that's legal here and tolerated here is not tolerated worldwide. So just keep that in mind. But this has been another edition of the All Basketball Podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Maurice Dixon. Another episode of Just My Thoughts. Remember, please to subscribe. Um, thank you for checking me out. Until the next time, peace and be blessed in Jesus' name.